Hello there, Seraphim17 once again. This is my Metal Gear Solid 5 S-Rank walkthrough. This is episode 4, it is entitled C2W, and do not get on the horse, because there's a little doggy who will become a buddy if you pick him up, and I'm going to go back and grab him just now, because I think I'm going to use him, because I've never really messed with this dog. It could be really good. Apparently it marks resources and things of interest on your HUD/map, which I used Quiet for the entire game because I think Quiet is the best character in the game, and for somebody who says a very small amount of things, I think she's the most interesting character in the entire narrative, and it's kind of tragic actually, just how cool she could have been if she'd have had more to do. And it's kind of the story of a lot of the narrative in this game for me. You don't really see that much of anything when it comes to the narrative and when it comes to the plot. And in previous Metal Gear games you saw so much that it became almost an issue to some players, whereas on this game you literally begin to crave more exposition and more cutscenes and more story because it just isn't there. And it's deliberately done so that when it does turn up it's got more power, and that it's more of a focus on the gameplay, because once again this is a game that is about gameplay, and if you're a Metal Gear Solid fan that's probably going to blow your fucking mind, because I know it did mine. But what they do here is they relegate a lot of the story to the tapes, which are kind of like the codec conversations, only not quite as engrossing, I don't think. And the problem that I have with them is quite simple. The codec was always used to give tertiary elements of story. It was used to flesh out characters, it was used to do a lot of things. And you chose to partake in it, much like you can choose to partake in the cassettes. However, in this game, the stuff that you would have seen in a cutscene that would have been explained with some awesome cinematography and some over-the-top bullshit and some really hammy dialogue is done on tape, is done in this codec formula. So there are swathes of storylines that you have to use the tapes to get. And it's one of those things where when you play the tape, you can't hear anything. So it's not like you can be playing the tapes while you're doing a mission, because it's just not going to work. And then you could go to the mother base and run around there, but why would you? Because there's fuck all to do, and it's the biggest epic failure of the game that they have this fantastic hub world that could have been the Normandy 2.0 and the best thing in video games, but instead it's this sterile bullshit place of nothing. And the anger and resentment that it stirs in me is as close to enmity as it can get. But at the same time, it's so confusing. I've got so many mixed emotions about this game, it's amazing. And the game is amazing, don't let me put you off, folks, even though I have some really aggressive things to say against it. The game is fantastic. But in the pantheon of Metal Gear games, I think it's the worst one. And all these reviews are telling me it's the best Metal Gear ever. And I'm sorry, but you clearly haven't played Metal Gear, because the things that make those games are not in this game to the same degree they were. And if you're coming into this with an open mind to an evolution of the style, I think you're going to have a great time. And if you're coming into this because you like open world games and you want to see stealth on such a grand scale that it's never been done before, I think you'll find that this is probably the best game that's ever done it. But if you're somebody who came for a story that was long in the tooth and didn't really understand brevity, that indulged itself on every occasion with a cast of characters that were bizarre, that was full of crazy boss fights that verged on the ludicrous to the mundane, you know, that took you on this cohesive narrative through all these different things, you're not going to find it, because it's in such a threadbare place. It doesn't really exist, even though it kind of does. Like, there are aspects of everything I just mentioned in this game, but they're spread between so many mundane bullshit tasks that it's an effort to get to them. And it's so strange. It's like the antithesis of what Metal Gear was to me. And I don't know, it's so bizarre. But I just planted the C4 on the communications there. We're going to get out of this place and detonate it, but climbing up surfaces in this game is a nightmare. The amount of times you will slide or go into a stood-up position for no real reason is beyond infuriating. It's too much, dude. They should have really messed with the collision, because at times it's just pathetic. But you are in light here, so be very careful. Hug the shadows, hug the bushes. Stay on your belly just in case. Something really cool to know as well. Those electronic equipment can be destroyed with a water pistol, and it doesn't make any sound. So if you come back here with better equipment and you want to get the S rank, or you want to just destroy stuff without everybody knowing where you are, then that's the best thing to do. Because unfortunately, as you can tell, explosives are explosive, and that's what they do. But I'm going to get out of this territory as far as I can, and then I'm going to detonate the C4 and get the hell back to the chopper. But I both love and hate the story of this game. At first I thought it was dumb, preposterously dumb, in a way that Metal Gear wasn't, because Metal Gear has always had ridiculous, fantastical plots that verge on just insanity at most of the time, but there was always something in them that was endearing, that kept me thinking, like, yeah, I can go with this Patriot bullshit, this Philosopher's Legacy, Arsenal Gear, lally-lully-low nonsense. You know, memes, genes, Fox Die, and all that kind of great stuff. But the more I played with this, and the more of the side stuff I did, and the more of the tapes I listened to, I realised that the story is a lot better than I gave it credit for being. But you have to find it. Like, you have to seek it out. And I disagree with that, even though I think it's great from a player perspective, from a gameplay perspective. I think it's amazing. But it's never been the way that these games are. So it's this contrasting ideology of old school Metal Gear fans with this new Metal Gear mentality. And if you're like me, and change can be a tough thing for you, and it can be abrasive, and you fight it with clenched teeth until you realise, you know, you've just got to go with it, you can have a tough time. But if you don't, and you're okay with these changes, and you're okay with a vastly different experience, then I think you're set. I think you're golden, and I think there's something here that you can truly love for a very long time. But thank you very much for watching. You take care now.